Ladies and gentlemen, President Biden denies knowing about the Rudy Giuliani raid. This is almost certainly a lie. And the reason it's almost certainly a lie is that, number one, Biden was a part of setting up and framing Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn did absolutely nothing wrong, aside from allegedly lying to Peter Strzok, who was fired from the FBI. So, if you look up the indictment of Michael Flynn, the only thing it says is that he allegedly lied to agents that went to see him over a conversation he had with Sergei Kislyak, which was taped and already monitored and deemed there was no foul play or misconduct or any illegal behavior within that conversation. So Comey at that point had already listened in on the conversation. Then of course, you had Comey and McCabe at one point, each of them saying, well, he didn't, he told the truth to the agents. But see, again, there have been reports that Biden knew or helped with trying to get Flynn on an obscure law. I forgot what it was. Anyway, he didn't consult. He wasn't a consultant for Turkey. The judge was actually, he stated that he misspoke. So Flynn did nothing wrong. And Biden was linked to the setup. The entire Trump-Russia nonsense was fabricated to save face because they lost miserably in 2016. You have emails from his son, from Biden's son, that are not only the definition of pay to play, the definition of quid pro quo. There's even an email that says, you can look it up, New York Post. They're going after Giuliani on allegedly lobbying. There's an email that was in Biden's Hunter's laptop that actually says an earlier email from May 2014 also shows that the number 3 and the Ukrainian energy company asked Hunter for, quote, advice on how you could use your influence on the company's behalf. Is that not lobbying? And then, of course, he lied on an application to get a firearm, which is a federal offense because he consumed narcotics and was an addict. And he stated that he wasn't. And there are pictures and there's evidence of that. Then they lost the .38 because his girlfriend at the time threw it in at a dumpster outside, right near a school. This is like public record. Politico wrote about it. You couldn't make this up. But the notion, hit subscribe to this channel right now, because I give a unique perspective. I was on the left most of my life, almost all my life, up until the past couple of years. I understand the racket. It is a racket and a scam based on purely public relations. The dossier was purchased by Clinton. There was no Trump-Russia. They haven't found anything in his taxes. They say he's a criminal president or that he's a criminal. Why hasn't he been charged with anything? The only reason Clinton wasn't charged was because James Comey stated there was no intent. And the only reason Hunter Biden isn't being charged with numerous offenses is because, well, we know why. He's the president's son. He should never have obtained a firearm, number one. And this is from somebody who is an advocate of the Second Amendment. But he's the last person that you want with any type. Let's put it this way. This man, if he were Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. or Jared Kushner, I mean, just the pictures alone from his laptop would have been fuel for endless mockery. Of course, you have Jimmy Kimmel embracing his rear end. And now you have him lecturing the establishment to the left, and also like Mitt Romney, we'll get to in a second also. Mitt Romney was almost censured by the Utah Republican Party. President Trump has taken over the Republican Party because Republicans, the establishment Republicans, don't stand for anything. They're basically socially conservative or fiscally conservative, if you want to call fiscally conservative Democrats. There's no major difference between Mitt Romney and Nancy Pelosi. They're really not going to differ on major foreign policy issues or trade issues. And they're not going to differ that much on social issues. Trump is a different story. I voted for President Trump because May 1st, 2021, he negotiated a deal to get us out of Afghanistan. And President Biden's keeping us there longer. This is not important to oftentimes apoplectic yet always morally superior Democrats. It's not important to them. But this is an issue. This is one of the reasons why 74 million Americans voted for President Trump. But the notion that Biden didn't know about the raid is absurd. They're going after the direct political rivals. This is exactly what you heard. About Trump. Oh, he's a despot. He's an authoritarian. Would they have trusted President Trump if his FBI went after Democrats? No, they wouldn't have. They would have investigated. They would have pushed for an investigation into what he knew, they didn't even though President Zelensky of Ukraine stated that he was never pushed or pressured or strong-armed or, there was no leverage or quid pro quo pertaining to looking into whether Biden committed crimes, because, you see, what Democrats do is the following. They're the ones who have private servers. They're the ones who have top-secret intelligence on servers. They're the ones who have FBI directors saying, there was no intent. They're the ones who have their attorneys delete emails that almost certainly are classified. They're the ones who have sons that have serious serious addictions, narcotics, and alcohol, likely, with Hunter, kicked out of the Navy, I believe, and yet he's championed as this Hunter S. Thompson type of individual now, even though we have no idea. They're trying to, the public relations spin is he had these demons and he's overcome these demons. We don't know this. We have no clue. The firearms incident where allegedly, according to Politico, the Secret Service got involved, that was only a couple years back. So you had President Obama's administration set up and frame Trump with a dossier with agents that are terminated from the FBI or indicted, like Kevin Kleinsmith, with text messages saying that, we're going to go after Trump and we're going to, he's a menace, we're going to stop him. I mean, you couldn't, if the same things were done by Trump to Democrats as Democrats have done to Trump, they would never stand for it. But if there's a double standard, when they go after their direct political rivals, you have to trust that Biden knows nothing about it. But even, let's say, if he didn't know, let's assume he didn't know that specific day, there was a raid on Giuliani's apartment. A mob boss might not necessarily know what exactly, different people in his organization that work for him, what they're up to every single day. So the fact that Biden didn't know exactly about that raid happening that day, or if he did or didn't, we don't know. Very likely he knew something was going to happen. If the Lincoln Project knew, Lincoln Project tweeted out at the weekend this is according to Newsweek, said it had heard from sources that something big was going to happen on Wednesday. These people like slither towards, these are the same people who have like serious, like they have blood on their hands. They're the ones who got our country into never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts and went after Vietnam veterans. Senator Max Cleland, who opposed Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld's foreign policy. And now they're Democrats. Or they're like, oh, the good Republicans. And then one of the founders of the whole thing is accused of the most despicable acts. But anyway, after news broke of federal investigations raiding Giuliani's New York City apartment yesterday, the campaign simply tweeted, "Told you." Now, they're the ones who have been completely disgraced. And yet they still... The Lincoln Project is so far deep in the mud that they don't realize how disgraced they are. And they think that if they throw mud at Giuliani or Trump, that they probably still have an audience of wonderful, morally superior liberals who will disregard all their despicable behavior. Because most people on the left, good liberal Democrats, most just despise Trump, but they can't name anything like specifically bad that he did. Well, the pandemic, it's not his fault. It's people like Andrew Cuomo or Whitmer. Michigan is still suffering because of Whitmer. Okay, it's not Trump. You have a crisis at the border that's even worse than anything that happened during President Trump's administration, and yet nobody talks about it. And nobody even investigates. You have media that is complicit in propping up this presidency. I mean, he did. There's a couple good things that he's done, Biden. I'll give him that. One in particular, but otherwise, the media that treated Trump, like 92% negative media coverage, and the fact that media was complicit in spreading absolute nonsense and garbage about Trump that never happened. They have his tax returns now. You have the Southern District as a political arm of the Democratic Party. You have media as a public relations arm of the Democratic Party. You have the FBI, and we know exactly which political side they're helping out. You have Mitt Romney now, who was almost censored by the Utah Republican Party. So it's only a matter of time before President Trump completely takes over because you want the Republican Party, because you want a Republican Party that removes Americans from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. May 1st, yesterday, 2021, was when we were supposed to leave. And Biden is keeping us there until September, very likely forever, unfortunately, or indefinitely. Give me your thoughts below. They're going after the direct political rivals, which is exactly what they cried and moaned and were so concerned and petrified of with Trump. They're the ones who are the authoritarians and despots and tyrants. They're the ones, though, that can mask their tyranny with public relations, with media. Media's not talking about numerous scandals, from Hunter Biden's emails to the border to the fact that they're going after Giuliani they say they're still investigating Giuliani. It's been 2 years now. They found nothing, or a year and a half. They found nothing. They just want to entrap him. They say that Trump's taxes are the holy grail of corruption. Where's the evidence of any crimes? They've had his taxes for 2 months now, going on 3 months. They couldn't find anything. They had a Mueller probe. They found nothing. The thing is, they have media, they have Republicans, and they have intelligence agencies that will back them. And you have, the millions of people who voted for Biden who are just fine with an acceptable form of tyranny and going after their direct political rivals. But if they were treated in the manner that they've treated Trump, oh my God, the indignation would be heard throughout the universe. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe.